Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to an exciting new video. So I'm actually headed over to my shop to get quite a few things installed. Really excited for this new phase of the car. We're going to get a Blouch 1.5XTR turbo installed, ball bearing turbo I should say. I'm also getting the PLM up pipe with the dump tube, as well as the TiAL 44mm wastegate installed as well. And then after all that is installed, we're going to get a retune on the dyno. Also getting an oil change with Motul 5W40. I'm super excited for all this, for the new phase of this car. It's going to be really exciting. I'm excited for all the new videos that I get to do with it and everything, kind of share my experience. This is actually one of the first days that the car has been in the rain for quite some time actually. Usually, you know, this is not my daily driver, so it really doesn't see inclement weather anymore. But doesn't matter, the car is filthy anyway. And I'm going to give it a good wash once we get everything done and I get the car back from the shop. So we got about 42 minutes left on the drive, so I'm going to enjoy this nice rainy day drive on the way there, and then I'll catch back up with you guys in a little bit. And also real quick, I know a lot of people are always interested in my gas mileage on, you know, a car modified like this. On the way there I'm getting 22.3, so really not that bad for an old EJ motor. Here's my Uber. Alright, so we are literally next exit and we got pulled over. He's cool though, so we'll see what happens. Alright guys, so obviously since the last clip it has been quite a while. It has been nearly a week. So I dropped the car off last Wednesday and I'm picking the car up on Tuesday, so what, 6 days. And the main reason why was they just need a little bit more time to get everything installed properly. Obviously to get it on the dyno, they ran out of time when it was on the dyno the first day. So they decided to pull it off, and then it was the weekend, so they got right back to it Monday morning and were able to get it done. Insanely happy with the results. You guys will see that later in the video. But I have the dyno sheets, I have the dyno clips and everything like that. Very, very happy with how it turned out, and I'm really excited to go pick it up. So I'm actually going to pick it up tomorrow evening with a buddy of mine, my buddy Lewis, who actually drove me home when I dropped the car off. He's coming in clutch, super thankful. So hopefully we don't get pulled over on the way there to go pick up the car. But as you can see, nearly a week away, my wife has taken over the garage. We got a stroller here, we got a picnic table and some random tables and stuff. And she's parking, obviously not completely on her side. She's kind of towards the middle of the garage. So it's nice to have all this extra space, but I'm definitely excited to get the STI back in the garage. But I will pick this video back up once we are on our way to go pick up the car. Again, I am super excited to experience the new power and continue to enjoy my STI ownership even more than I already have for the past 5 years, a little over 5 years now. And I'm really excited to share this feedback and experience with you guys. Now, this video is simply just going to be kind of my initial impression, picking up the car and everything like that. I'll go over all the details in future videos. Obviously, we'll be doing driving videos and everything and kind of going everything in complete detail. But this is just going to be the initial pickup and kind of my initial feelings and feedback getting the car for the first time, because there's going to be so much to talk about and I don't want to make this video too long, just kind of spitting out a million different facts. So let me catch back up with you guys tomorrow evening when we are picking up the STI from my shop. My guy coming through again. Second Uber. Alright guys, picking up the car. Looks exactly the same, unless you're actually going under the hood and looking. I mean, we'll go into detail, obviously, in a future video, but you can kind of see the turbo down here. It says BPT, and everything else you can't see, but we got the Cobb turbo inlet right there that you can obviously see. If you guys notice, the clamps are not titanium anymore, since the ones that I was using from Titanium Works, they actually weren't clamping down properly or enough. So they replaced them with the stainless ones, which is not a big deal. I'll probably just end up changing them out later down the road, but we're good there. But yeah, I haven't driven it yet. We're literally just picking it up. And my buddy Lewis, who gave us a ride, has just taken some photos over here. And then yeah, so it should be a fun ride home. And we'll see what I think. This thing is wild. So loud. Alright guys, so we are home, as you can see. Enjoyed the drive home. I didn't want to do too much filming just because literally there is so much going on when you're driving this car. Just the amount of sounds that come out of everywhere is ridiculous. Absolutely a blast. This thing is honestly how I feel an STI should have came from the factory. It is just incredibly fun. The power, as soon as it hits, it really puts you back in your seat. And every time that I was getting on it as I was driving, it kind of took me by surprise. I was not expecting it to pull that hard and also for that long. One thing I noticed, just when you're on it in the upper RPM range, it just keeps on pulling. Whereas the old setup, it kind of falls off around 6K. You know, it still was good up top, but it definitely dropped. We'll go over the dyno graph in a little bit and just show you the differences between everything, but so happy with everything. It drives literally beautiful. It's very, extremely loud. We got a few flyby clips just to get you guys an idea of what it sounds like. Honestly, it is really hard to depict on film and on camera of how this thing actually sounds. In person, it is just unbelievably loud. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing full driving videos, getting a bunch of different exhaust clips, outside, inside, kind of the whole nine. But I'm kind of just in that phase of, you know, experiencing it for the first time. I kind of want the honeymoon phase, kind of the jitters, the initial reaction, kind of, I want them to settle down a little bit, just so I can get a better idea and talk more clearly, I guess, because right now I'm just super excited. And there's just a million thoughts going through my mind and kind of what I want to explain and go over. So I'm just going to slow down, spend a few days with the car, drive it around, kind of get a feel for the new power and everything going on. And then I'll get back to you with a little bit more detail in terms of driving videos and sound and everything. So I had to break out the hood light over here just so you guys can get a better view and better lighting in here since it is pretty dark. But there really not much that you can see in the engine bay initially of what was changed or installed. Obviously, right up front here is pretty much the only thing that you can see right away, which is the Cobb turbo inlet. So it goes right under the manifold. Fits beautifully. Obviously, it works really well with the Cobb intake here. So really nice. It looks like one piece. Over here, again, can't really see it, but the turbo is down there. You can see the BBT logo right there. So that is the front of the turbo, obviously. Where's the oil feed line and everything. So not really much you can see just because the heat shield's in the way. And obviously it's under the intercooler, so there's not really much room to kind of see anything. Underneath, where the turbo and the external wastegate is, can't see that at all. I was searching around forever just to try to get a glimpse of it, but you really can't see it. And also, like we said, I got a fresh oil change of Motul 5W40 and the Roki Mazda oil filter, which I've gone into detail about why I use that one. So that is done. So it's really nice to have a fresh oil change and all this done and just kind of ready to drive whenever I want it. I got to clean the car up extensively. It is filthy with bugs and everything. You can see on the windshield, it's just absolutely riddled with a bunch of bug splatter and all that up on the front bumper as well. So yes, my car does get dirty. I know it looks pretty clean on camera, but I do drive it, believe it or not. And it does get dirty. So I'm really looking forward to cleaning this up. Finally, it has been quite a while. So I definitely want to do a wash and talk video very soon, hopefully this weekend. But if we come over here, we can see everything that was removed and also replaced. Here is the stock turbo. Can't really see, but there's no shaft play or anything. Spins very nice. There's no resistance or anything like that. So 36K miles, and it has done well for its short life. There's no oil in the inlet or anything like that due to the AOS, but this baby has served me well, but it's time that we moved on to something new. Then over here, this heat shield right here is the reason why all this happened. Literally, you guys saw me put that hose clamp on there to rid the rattling that I was having. That is kind of how all of this started. This heat shield, the welds broke off the top here and was rattling on the up pipe here, causing a crazy amount of noise and just annoying rattle. So my remedy at the time was just to throw a hose clamp on there and it rid the rattle. But me being me, ended up doing all this instead. So it ended up working out. I'm really happy with the end result. But as you can see over here, this is the internal wastegate that you can actually remove from the Blouch turbo since we are external. So you actually just remove this and you don't need it. And then also right here, these are the PLM gaskets they supply, which are really cheap, and they're known to blow out and just brittle very quickly. So we actually upgraded with the proper Grimspeed gaskets for everything, for the turbo, for the up pipe and all that. So everything is properly sealed with some high quality gaskets, and we don't have to worry about using really crappy gaskets anywhere in the car. All right, so this is what probably most people are obviously interested in. This is the end result of what we ended up with. Now, the red line, that is what I was previously. So what I've been running for the past year with the equal length headers, I was looking at 348 torque and 335 power. At the time, it was around 352 torque and 39 horsepower, but rounded up to 340. So obviously the weather, the temperature could have been a little different. So it's very close. So that is where we're looking at prior to all of this. And then with all the upgrades we just did and sport in 15 PSI, we're looking at 325 torque and 77 wheel horsepower. And then we bump up to sport sharp at 18 PSI. And we're looking at 358.4 torque and then I guess we can round that up to 413. So pretty big jump from where I was. It's about a 78 horsepower gain. Now keep in mind, I don't want anybody to start flipping out saying I could have gotten more, I should have gotten less or whatever. My goal overall was just to try and stay pretty much where I was prior. I wanted to put better aftermarket parts on the car that were going to be able to work less, but be able to provide similar power. So in that case, it's going to create less heat and overall just be more reliable. So I'm not pushing these parts by any means. There's still a ton left that I'll be able to move up to if I ever wanted to. But staying in that 350 range for torque is really important, because once you start getting in higher torque ranges, that is when you're going to start having some issues with the EJ. The torque figure and the torque power is necessarily what you want to watch out for. Horsepower is one thing, obviously, but the torque is what makes these things go very quickly. So obviously we could have bumped it up to 20 PSI and shot a little bit higher for torque, but staying around that 358 is really perfect, and I'm really happy with that. Also, really happy to say that I'm in the 400 club, which I wasn't expecting. I was thinking to be around the 380 range overall, So to see that big of a jump in terms of horsepower is pretty impressive. I'm really, really happy with that. So let's explain the graph a little bit so you get a better idea. What we're actually going to be looking at is the red lines as well as the blue lines. This is Sport, which I never drive in, but I just want to compare the two because that is basically what it was before and then what it is to now, because I always drive in Sport Sharp. So as you can see, the red line just kind of comes up and then it just dies down here. So let's see, around 50. So around like 47.50, it just starts dying out. This was the previous setup on the stock turbo right here. But then if we look here on the blue line, the torque figure comes up and then stays super linear up here, then starts dropping off probably around 5,700 RPM. And then it falls off very slightly. So the stock turbo dropped off much more drastically and kind of just fell at its face, anything above like 5,200 RPM. So you only had about 1,500 to 2,000 RPM of fun, and then it kind of just faded out. Look at the horsepower figure. The blue line goes all the way up, just keeps going, nice steady increase. And then down here in the red for the old setup kind of comes up and kind of fades out here. So much more top end, much more linear torque figure. So it's much more streetable, much more fun to drive overall. And then also another thing to notice is if you look at the red lines, it kind of just gradually goes up, whereas the Blouch 1.5 kind of goes up gradually and then shoots up a little bit higher here. So it's much more usable power. It starts kicking in way sooner. I want to say it starts kicking in around 3,300 RPMs, whereas the stock turbo, you really didn't see a big jump until like 35-ish or so. So spool's a little bit sooner. Again, that is better for daily driving. So you're going to be able to use the power more often and just kind of around town, as opposed to having to really wind it out to really feel, what the car can do. So the drivability is definitely there. The street ability is amazing. It's going to be a ton of fun to drive on the street, as if this car wasn't fun enough to begin with. But now with this new setup, I'm going to be able to use the power and be in the power band, the strong power band, more often. Overall, it's just going to be much more fun and much more usable, which is exactly what I was looking for. All right, so I think I'm going to wrap the video up here. A lot going on, a lot going through my mind, a lot of things that I want to do and show you guys and talk about. But, I don't want to make this video too wordy and get too far into details and everything. I kind of want to break it up a little bit and make it a little bit more palatable for you guys. And also for me, like I said, this is all, I literally just got home. So kind of letting it process a little bit, going over all the power and everything and the actual dyno graph and checking it out a little bit more intently is going to help me be able to explain it a little bit better in the future. But yeah, guys, unbelievably happy with how this car ended up and where it is currently. Never in a million years would I ever think I'd be able to do anything like this or have my perfectly built STI sitting in my garage. It's a pretty special feeling, and I honestly can't thank you guys enough for all the support and obviously for the encouragement to kind of bump up to this stage and kind of this point of this car. It has been an absolute pleasure and such a joy to own, and I'm really excited for this new phase of this car and I guess STI ownership. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned till the end just for the couple flyby clips so you guys can see the car under load and just hear it. Really, really cool. But again, we're going to be doing future videos, a little bit more detailed exhaust and all that kind of stuff videos. So stay tuned for those. But in the meantime, guys, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
stupid loud from the front and from the back.